some pole dancing. The props are down and we have stripped the majority of the first floor. We do still have a little bit left over, but that's okay. And now we start the process of reinstating things. And so in this video, we're going to be starting the process of putting in some new internal walls, some stud walls. We've got a bunch of timber that's been delivered. We have a bunch of insulation, but I don't think we're going to get that far at this stage. We're just going to be putting in the skeleton of things so that we can start seeing the shape and so that we can know where the extent of all the walls are, so that we know where our bathroom fittings will ultimately go, so that we can then start putting in the plumbing in the right places. Of course, we learned a lot about framing from the shed build, and so hopefully we're going to take some of those learnings into this project, and hopefully it goes a little bit smoother than some of the measuring disasters we had last time. But of course, as we like to do around here, we like to work things out as we go along and learn by doing. It's the way that both Kylie and I are wired to do things. So we're going to enjoy this process, and hopefully you enjoy watching. So before we jump in and start ripping out floors and putting up walls, I thought it would be useful just to give you a brief overview of what the bathroom is planned to look like. Now, I'm sure there'll be some small changes here and there, but this is generally speaking what we're going to be looking at. At the moment, we have no walls here other than this stone wall that is currently covered in lovely pink tiles. And where you see this kind of recess here, we're going to be building a full height, not just this half height here, a full height cavity wall where we're going to be running services, mostly plumbing services up and down from the ground floor to the first floor where the bathroom is, and then eventually up into the loft. So this is going to be a fake wall, and in front of that we will have a vanity unit with a sink and a toilet. So we will be moving the position of the lovely pink toilet and we'll be replacing it as well. But that will eventually end up over here. On the other end of the room, we will have a bath and a walk-in shower enclosure. And so we need to put in a stud wall here all the way along, but the bathroom isn't going to take up all of that space. We're going to be putting in another small wall here to create a little linen cupboard, and there is actually a door access from the other side. We'll be leaving that doorway and having that as cupboard access. And then we have this slightly longer wall to put in here as well. But the specific placement of this stud wall and this stud wall and this stud wall is largely going to depend on the placement of the floor joists underneath, which run long ways along the length of the room, and the ceiling joists, which are running in the opposite direction, perpendicular, but running across like this. So now we've got a general idea of what we're trying to achieve. Let's get started.
Hi. So we want to build a wall here. So this is going to be the wall that divides the bathroom with what we're going to call the craft room, because eventually will become my sewing and knitting and our craft room. Our biggest concern is how do we ensure that this wall is level, plumb and square with everything, given that all of the walls...
Given that nothing is level or plumb or square.
Exactly. So I see that we have kind of two options, which is we could follow the lines of the existing floorboards, which we're going to remove, and do them square to the joists, or we could assume, and there's a big assume, but I think this might work, is assume that the concrete wall that they've done, the pink wall, the remaining pink wall, is square, straight and level, and build off of that.
Well, that's pretty level. As much as I don't like what they did in the 70s, they did this at least plumb. Nice.
Just on the tile. It's not bad.
And that's not bad either. I actually think our level is slightly out of level. So because we need to put a wall in here and in here, one of the first things that we're going to need to do is to remove this floor. And so we had always planned to take these floors up because as much as the top layer is in pretty good condition, the layer underneath is very old, and back in the, whenever it was done, probably in the 70s, they just laid this pine floor on the top straight over the bug damaged and rotten floorboards underneath. So we're going to have to take it all up. We will reuse the timber from the top layer for something else, for a future project. But the first thing to do is to take up all the floor so we can expose the joists underneath, so that we can then mark out where our first wall is going to go. Might take us all day to get the floor up. Good. Oh, there's a big nail in there.
You've got the tool of choice here, I think.
Oh, good. Oh, okay. Jesus, this is a disaster.
Good to see your positivity today.
Yeah. So, folks, this does not fill me with joy. I'm really bad with heights or anything that requires balance, because I don't have much of it. And so, yeah, I'm trying to stay as far away as possible from kneeling over this void. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. This just happens to be one of mine. It's just dust, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's just coming up through to the nail.
Yeah. Oh, just missed the bucket.
Was there a nail? Or just a knot?
I don't know what it was. Okay, quick update on how the framing is going. There's no framing yet, but that is what we're about to move on to. So we spent most of the morning and a little bit of time after lunch removing the floor. We found that it was much easier going the opposite way to what we started with. So starting from the tongue side and lifting up that way, much easier it seems, which is good to know for the future. So we've cleared an area down here, and we've got a piece of OSB just so that we don't fall through the floor. We will be putting an OSB subfloor in when we remove all of this stuff over here, and then with a concrete backer board over the top, which we'll be able to tile onto. And the two layers should mean that it'll be nice and stiff, we can get it nice and level, and there won't be any spring or movement, which is very important for tiling. So what we're going to do next is we're going to build the frame for the stud wall that goes all the way across here. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to build it very similarly to the way that we did the shed project. And then we're going to lift it up into place, and the top plate is not going to sit underneath this joist here, but we're going to make it slightly taller so that we can attach it and nail it in to the joist at the top here. That way we can then kind of pack in any gaps and make sure it's nice and straight and level and all of that good stuff. And it should be much easier to be able to kind of build it and then lift it up, rather than trying to work out plumb lines and all sorts of fancy stuff like that. Beautiful.
My guess would be it needs to come in by at least 1 centimetre, but maybe 2.
Okay, let's do 2. Because we can just pack it on the
Yeah.
side anyway. So
Also because this comes out, and so to get this, again, this... You understand this
Yes,
motion
yes,
that I'm
yes,
talking
yes,
about?
yes.
Okay.
We can come from the other side there as well.
Mm-hmm.
much easier when you've got the right tools. Not a circular saw that you're trying to cut straight square lines.
Is that vertically
Flush here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hold on. That's not what I meant. Okay. Now shuffle it on. Where is it?
Oh, hang on. We might need to go for a second nail at the bottom here. Just because it's pulling away.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try again. Okay, we have a problem here. We need to come and slide in and under.
Uh-huh.
You see? Well, the problem is that this floor is in the way. Okay, well maybe this isn't the best plan.
It's a great plan if the more of the floor was up. So we're going to pull the bottom back a bit. We're going to then feed the top up into the next void.
Yep.
And we're going to swing the base through that way. There you go. You need to go up vertically. Exactly. Okay, now can you put that in your base piece and get into position? How far off are we?
I don't know if we're making this more difficult than it should be, or what. Happy? Okay. Now we just need to get the other side in.
1, 5, 2, 2, 1.
So hard to tell if the tape measure is straight because all the joists and the floor is not straight.
So with a little bit of persuasion, we have got our frame of the wall in. And do you still want to get the uprights in tonight? Guy's goal to himself was to get a wall up today. We have a frame of a wall up.
It is 6:45 p.m. on Monday evening. Putting in what, 1, 2, 3 or 4 uprights wouldn't take that long, but when you're tired, like I am, you make more mistakes, and so it would probably take at least half an hour, and I'd rather be eating some food instead. So I think we're going to leave it for tonight. Yeah. The mistake that we made here was assuming that one of the ceiling joists, or that any of the ceiling joists, were straight, which they're not. And so this idea of trying to build the frame and attach it at the top into the side of one of those joists was a bad move. We thought it would be easier than trying to get it all lined up and put it in underneath, but that probably would have been easier at the end of the day, and we would have had plenty of space to kind of fix in to above. So when we do the next one, maybe we won't make that mistake again. Finished. Hello, welcome back. It's a brand new day. The sun is shining and I'm smiling a little bit more than I was yesterday. I don't know why, but yesterday was just a really not a good building day. And perhaps what you see or don't see behind me goes to explain that. We did a bunch of work. We ran into a load of problems. We made a bunch of oversights in an effort to try and make our life easier. And we ended up ripping it all out. And today, we're going to start afresh. So, you have to laugh sometimes. So, we're going to try and build a wall again. And we're going... and we're going to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, now looking at that joist, it's nowhere near straight.
It's
No wonder.
twisted,
It's very
which
twisted.
is it's not straight in any dimension, which is somewhat confusing. So we've got our top, our two sides, and our bottom piece. It's here. And something that we're going to do differently compared to yesterday is not just build the 4 outer pieces, but we're going to put the studs in the middle as well. It will give it a bit more rigidity, and it is easier to work on the floor than it is when stuff is standing up. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we got all of our studs cut, our bottom plate and the top plate up there. Oh, it's time to use the machine with respect.
Let's see if my arms are...
That was infinitely easier than last time. Okay, well that's pretty much perfect.
on the inside.
Well, it's just moved.
Oh, it's because you let it go.
I wasn't holding it.
Uh-huh. Now just test it.
From yesterday, when we did this the first time. Something else we learned yesterday was nails are quite irreversible, whereas screws, reversible. And so whilst we're just kind of getting this in place, we're clamping and screwing, and then when we get it right, we're going to nail it in.
Perfect. Like literally perfect.
Perfect. I like perfect.
Let's see how...
Let's see any of the others are perfect.
This is how this one is.
Also perfect.
Why didn't we do it like this yesterday?
Because that gave us the chance to do it better today. So our first stud frame is in place. It is square, it is plumb, it is level, it is all the things. And let me just show you what threw us off yesterday. You can see the extent of how the joist above kind of sticks out a lot on this side, and then not very much on that side. But then as we come further back, it sticks out more on this side and less on this side. Oh, I see.
Oh, hi.
So we got our first wall in, a couple of noggins in already. We've cut this one to size, but left it out until we know the placement of the shower taps and stuff like that. We've set it up so that this space down here at the bottom on this one is for a single insulation batten to go in. Same with this one here. This distance to the top is the same, 1350, but this one will obviously have to cut to the width, and we'll stagger them across so that there's either a full one at the top or a full one at the bottom each time. So I think the next step is going to be removing more floorboards. So what you've just seen twice, us working out how to put up a stud wall and then taking it down and working out a different approach, is a perfect example of the kind of thing that to most people may look bonkers and may look like a huge waste of time and effort. In this case, we didn't waste any money, which I guess is a good thing. But this is something that Kylie and I really enjoy doing. And yes, we do get frustrated, and yes, sometimes we get annoyed at things not going smoothly or not going right, or kind of getting to the boundaries of our physical strength or our ability to solve a problem. But what we're doing here is learning, and the process of learning doesn't mean getting it right the first time. And it's something that we really value as people who have learnt lots of different things over our time. And as you'll see later as this video progresses, we actually come up with a much better way of building stud walls. But we would only have done that and got there and learnt that it was a better way if we'd done the first way first. And so maybe you're watching this thinking we have no idea what we're doing. Maybe you're watching going, wow, that's crazy to kind of continually do things over and over again in the pursuit of learning. But it's something that we really enjoy, and hopefully you enjoy watching us do it and can learn a thing or two from us, whether that's learning about how to put up a stud wall or just learning that kind of process of iterating on things and having the confidence, if that's the right word, to just have a go and see what happens, and to try not to get too frustrated if it doesn't work. Anyway, that's enough philosophizing for now. Let's get back to the project. It's not how I do things.
No, I know.
That'll do, temporarily. How you doing?
I'm very exhausted. That was a lot more physical than I was expecting.
But the old floor is up and the new temporary floor is down. We still need to come up with a better plan for what we're going to do with the floor, but we don't have the answer for that yet. Since we are coming towards the end of the day, we're probably just going to call it there. So let's pick this up some other time. You look very relaxed. Ooh!
Did you measure good?
Like a glove.
Ooh, that is on an angle.
Yes.
Why is that tilt?
So the joist underneath is
Wow.
very not,
tilted.
yeah, it's not good. So this is a couple of weeks later because we took some time off for a family visit. And when we returned to this project, we came with a fresh perspective and a completely different approach. So this time we're going to attempt building these stud walls in pieces rather than trying to build the whole thing and lift it into place. Let's see how that goes. Oh well. Yeah, horizontally level.
Right. Okay.
So we'll call that good enough. Top or bottom? Top.
Do whatever you want. I would say bottom first, and then you can just lever it out. Much easier than getting on a stool.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe you're right. Let's see.
Happens.
Well, that was quite easy.
Out of teach. Oh!
Right. Let's play with another toy.
Before we do that,
Before we do this, what would you like to do?
I want to do a double check. So, if you need another piece of joist to sit behind that one, we can do that. You know, this is what instruction manuals come in useful for.
Exactly. That's better. Yeah, that's pretty much bang on, isn't it? Better, isn't it? Okay, cool. So that's that line. I'll do one here first.
No, do one here first. It's my arm. Smart ass. Without cutting my fingers. Can you do it or do you want me to do it?
Move your fingers out there. Well, I couldn't see where
Yeah,
it
no,
was.
I know. It is perfectly on the line.
Yeah, good. I like perfectly on the line. 2 pieces in.
Before you do that, I'm just going to go and get the fabric.
Okay. Right, so after dealing with the problem child twisted joist for the floor plate, which was a bit awkward and took a couple of hours, I think, that one is in place. We have our laser level, which is giving us a straight line along the floor, but also vertically. So we've been able to set the marks and line up the top plate as well. That is all in exactly the right place. It's all fixed in, it's all level, square, and plumb, and all the things. And so now we just need to do the uprights.
Oh, it really does move, doesn't it?
Bash that out a bit more. That is a good look.
For sure.
Take your pencil out of your mouth. You're on TV.
Hi, Mum. Isn't that what they always say when they say they're on TV?
Such concentration.
It's too late in the day for me to do math. You won't believe this.
You got it wrong?
No.
You got it right?
I always get it right. It's exactly 2.5.
You can't have half a stud.
2.5 of the width, so you get 2
Oh, I see.
correctly sized partitions, let's call them, that fit the installation perfectly, and then a half of one, which is great because when you cut the insulation board in half, then you can use the other half for the other wall where we also have a half a partition. Hold on, here's one of these.
You got him? So that is day 3, I think, complete on the framing. Got a small wall up, pretty happy with it. I think the method of doing each piece in turn and using the laser to get it all in the right place worked pretty well. For this small wall, we probably could have made the frame separately and kind of raised it into place, but for the next piece of the puzzle, which is the big one down here, that would be quite big and unwieldy, and there's a door in it as well, which makes it a bit more complicated. So glad we put this proper framing or alternative way of framing to the test today. So yeah, pretty happy with that. It's nice to be able to see the walls of this room now taking shape again. And it's going to be a pretty big, spacious bathroom, which is kind of cool. Bit luxurious maybe, but you know, for a family home, family bathroom. See you tomorrow. Hi.
Morning. New day. New t-shirt. Clean.
I don't have a new t-shirt.
No, you don't. It just touching this as well.
Yeah.
Which is correct.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would then mean that this joist isn't straight, which is completely understandable.
Correct. I mean, it's perfectly touching the top. It's perfectly touching at the bottom, and then it's run through to the next one.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
So if we put this in place.
Oh, hold on a second. Can you flip it over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, exactly. I think it's worth just double checking this because I'm not 100% confident. So, okay, cool. Well, better. What do they say?
Better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry. Measure twice, cut once.
Exactly.
Other generic building advice. Maybe we just bang some nails into it.
Yeah. Let's not overthink this.
You got ears somewhere.
Yeah, on my seat then. What's the worst that can happen? Yep, like that. Just don't do it in my foot.
Can you imagine?
Maybe down there a bit. Hold on.
Hey, look at that.
It's almost. There you go. That's how you do it.
That's how you get it level. Is it?
Yep, that's good.
Still good?
Yep.
Well, nails fixes everything, apparently. Yeah, this looks.
I'm
This looks
struggling,
good.
so I'm saying get up and get a nail in. That's what I meant by opening my
Oh
shoulder.
right, I thought you meant try and reach around and get you in over here. Well, that doesn't happen every day.
We are getting better at this.
Really good. Good?
It's not going anywhere, right?
No. 2462.
All right.
Yeah. We'll see.
Pause.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did well. Hold on.
Just checking my work.
Yeah. You did a good job.
That's right.
Learn from the best, is that what you said?
Yes.
I might need a cup of tea for that.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Good job.
Happy days. It's time for a cup of tea.
I double checked it because you measured it,
Perfect.
so you can double check it. 575. You're getting good at measuring.
Good. Thank you.
So that's one as well, but not this one.
Okay.
So this is our doorway.
Double frame either
Double
side.
frame, which will allow for a liner and the door in it. Then we have from here to there to put our towel rail on here, given that our service wall probably comes out to here. So that still gives us a 700, even less if we want towel rail, which is enough to fit a towel rail in.
Perfect.
I was just thinking about how we're going to get the hot water through this concrete slab. That's going to be fun.
Well, you're the plumber, so
Yeah.
that's a nice problem for you to solve.
Thanks.
What are you cutting there?
I'm going to just put a safety feature in.
A safety feature. That sounds exciting. Oh, that wood smells lovely. What is it?
Pine,
Is it?
isn't it?
Doesn't smell like pine.
What's it smell like?
I don't know.
Smells
Something
like pine
nicer.
to me.
Oops, that way around.
You talking to me?
Yes. Who else is here?
I don't know. What do you think?
A safety feature. Oh yeah, I quite like it.
It's just prevents
It's very
you from
safe.
falling in. But we step through here quite a bit, and it's just to prevent you from dying.
Helps if you turn the camera on, doesn't it? It's getting late.
Yeah, I can feel myself being tired.
Yeah, well, we should have had that tea break that we said we were going to have, and then didn't.
Breaks are for wimps.
Sure. Yes.
I mean,
Good, good, good.
the top one.
Yeah, let me do that as well.
Smaller.
This is probably So the walls are done for now. There are a few things that we need to work on. And so now that we know where all the walls are, that they're all square, straight, plumb, etc., we know where we can be feeding the pipe work through for running all the services to connect everything up in here eventually. But that is going to be quite a way away because first we need to get all those things into the building, and that's why very soon we're going to be working downstairs, clearing everything out down there, moving some stuff up here, digging out a floor downstairs, and then being able to get in things like cold water feed, hot water feed, and all the other feeds that we need. So yeah, pretty pleased. I think this first wall that we did is definitely how not to do stud wall framing. The other approach that we took was much better. The laser level was a bit of a godsend and a bit of a genius move. So very happy with that. Carly, anything else?
So there's one thing that we haven't finished, and that's intentional. There is this corner. We don't know what we're doing in the hallway there yet, so we're leaving it open to options. And we also have this service cavity that is going to go in front of this wall, so obviously we're not keeping the pink tiles as much as I'd love to.
Oh.
We are going to put a fake wall in front of this, but I don't exactly know where it's going to be.
There are a few bits and pieces still to work out. Floor level is going to be an interesting one as well, because we've got a concrete floor which is not level. We've got joists which we need to cover with something for the shower area. I can't remember what we said earlier in this video because it was like 3 weeks ago since we're recording now. I think we were talking about OSB and tile backerboard. We're not going to be using OSB at all. That would be a bad idea. So probably 1, maybe 2 layers of backerboard just to get the floor levels right. And so we've got a good solid medium for tiling onto. And we'll be doing a self-leveling compound of some description. We'll be looking at options for the best, most suitable product for that. And yeah, many other things to work out, of course. So I hope you enjoyed watching us try our hand at framing stud walls for the first time. I mean, we did the shed, but
yeah, that was different. That was
this
not
was,
into an existing building that
yeah,
is not square.
This was, yeah, definitely a lot harder. But yeah, much more to come here on the project. So stick around and we'll see you next time.